the middle, intercepted!
15-10-5, touchdown UMass!
Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the WMUA UMass Football Show. Gentlemen, we are already on week 2 from the journalism department studio at the Integrative Learning Center. I've got myself, Zeke Altman, with Dylan Kaminski, Aidan Shea. Boys, how are we feeling? Week 2, we're back. Got some new faces in the studio.
I'm feeling great. I got to go to spring practice on Tuesday. It was a great experience. I was really impressed by what I saw there, and I'm happy even more for Aidan Shea, who's able to be here with UMass for his first spring practice.
Yeah, no, after just transferring in, like some of these people that we're going to talk about later, it's weird to see, like, after playing in high school and going and see it at the next level, like for the first time, of like what it actually looks like.
Well, Aidan Shea is going to be a massive weapon for us going forward, as he is a film breakdown guru. So we'll break down some film later in the episode. First, we'll start off with a review of spring practices, take a look at what some of the coaches and some of the players said after practices. We have some clips from T.Y. Harding, Tyler Martin. Then we'll go into a Joe Harasymiak segment, look at what he had to say, talk about some of the improvements that he has to make, some of what he didn't do right, maybe some of the positives he did do right last season, all the way into some film breakdown. Pop Watson, Joseph Griffin Jr. It's going to be a lot of fun. Until we get into the MAC schedule, we'll talk about some of the interesting newcomers that will be not coming to Amherst, but the UMass Minutemen will be heading there. So we'll start off things with a review of spring practice. Dylan Kaminski, you were at Tuesday's practice. What did you see?
Yeah, Tuesday's practice. It was great. The first thing that I would probably say that stood out to me was just the size of this team. It was something that Coach Harasymiak also kind of made a point to emphasize in his press conference on Tuesday. But there's a lot of big guys. I mean, even in places you wouldn't expect. There's multiple 200-pound guys on the running back room, 300-pound guys on that interior offensive line. Even in the tight end room, there's so much size. Multiple guys at 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". When you have that much size, you're just a really physical opponent. Obviously, it seems simple to say, but UMass just didn't quite have that last year, and I think it was one of the reasons they were getting dominated in the trenches so much. So it's clear that that's something UMass is trying to address moving on.
And Aidan, you were there Thursday. A little bit of a different practice feel, a lot of energy still. Kind of what did you see? What did you notice?
Yeah, they all understand the assignment here. We all know what last year was like. Well, we got a really good look at the quarterbacks and wide receivers, and we're going to get into Pop Watson later and Joseph Griffin Jr., like you said. But just seeing the fluidity of like how Coach Harasymiak manages the practice, and we saw a lot of physical drills. We couldn't really see a lot of the offensive line and D line like on the other end of the field. But we just saw a lot of really good throws out of some of the quarterbacks and good plays out of wide receivers.
Yeah, it was a fun time, and it's great to be back, right? Spring practice in the bubble, it's a fun thing, and there's someone, you talk about size, Dylan Kaminski. This team has size. Their offensive line, tight end, but there's someone right now on the team, a wide receiver that doesn't have so much size, that is just a freshman, that has been catching people's eyes. And for me, that guy has been Drew Alsop, freshman at UMass, came out of Williston, Northampton, formerly at Central Catholic. He's first-team All-State, first-team All-Conference, Boston Globe All-Scholastic. The amount of awards this guy had in high school, he was actually a state champion in the javelin for track and field. So this guy is a real-time athlete, but he is not big. We've talked about size. This guy's just 5'9", 175.
Yeah, and I mean, he's in a room with T.Y. Harding, who's also around the same size. And having two guys like that, I think it, in a way, gives the offense more opportunity to be creative. More like end-arounds, motion action, just getting these guys the ball because they're so fast and so elusive and tiny in a good way. Yeah, I think Alsop has a lot of potential.
Well, this guy, you might not see him this year. You might not even see him next year, but he kind of talks to the identity that Joe Harasymiak is trying to bring. And we'll talk about that later. But we'll talk about a player that Joe Harasymiak brought back. When he came in, when he came in his first year, there was a player, T.Y. Harding, that, people didn't think he was going to be a person that stayed in the system. He stayed. He played a little bit, got injured, season-ending injury to the shoulder, but he's back this year and he's ready to go. And we'll hear what he had to say about his commitment and his love for the University of Massachusetts.
Yeah, for sure. It means the world to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, if I really wanted, I could have left or did whatever, but I want to stay. You know what I'm saying? I don't trust anybody more in this world right now more than Coach H. You know what I'm saying? I trust everything he has going for us, part of the program. You know what I'm saying? Not only that, I trust my brothers. You know what I'm trying to say? And I really, being here so long makes me more and more really want to win here. Like, I'll die for UMass. Whatever it takes for UMass to win, I'll do it. Like, literally, I don't care what it takes. I want UMass to win. So that's, like, just my biggest, like, goal right now is really to get us to a bowl game, get us to a championship, and win. Like, I need a win here. So that's really why I'm here.
So you heard it from T.Y. Harding. You can hear the commitment from this kid to this team and to this university. Another player like that is Tyler Martin. Tyler Martin is someone that brings a lot to this linebacker room, and we'll take a quick look at his graphic in just a second of the linebacker room that Joe Harasymiak has brought to Amherst with guys like Tyler Martin, Timmy Heinspeeder, Joshua Isaiah, and Kari Bendolph. This is a deep group. It's a group with Heinspeeder, Martin, and then you bring in 2 transfers. Kind of take me through your thought process. I'll go to you, Aidan Shea, first with this group and what you've seen from them in the past.
Yeah, they actually look really good from what we could see out there when I was out there on Thursday. Mostly Tyler Martin. When we got up after the press conference and we heard him speak, he just talked about wanting to build that culture and how important guys like you mentioned, Drew Alsop, guys like him who are from the state of Massachusetts, how important that is to setting a culture and building up this program.
Well, we'll take a look at Joe Harasymiak, the person that is building this culture on the other side. We'll take a break here on WMUA episode 2 of the WMUA UMass Football Show. We'll see you back in a second.
So, what's your film gonna be about?
Oh my god. It'll be an alternate reality film where...
Hello, ain't you Nathaniel B?
Actually landed with the crowd.
Well, it's a good thing you don't have the equipment to make that monstrosity.
I don't, but the UMass library does.
Oh yeah, don't they have 24 computer workstations loaded with the Adobe Suite, Final Cut Pro, and DaVinci Resolve?
Yeah, plus they have microphones, camcorders, DSLR cameras. You can even borrow SD cards.
Also, can't you email dml@library.umass.edu to book equipment ahead, or just show up in person? Wow, your movie might unfortunately happen.
Hold up, ain't you Nathaniel B?
Wait, it's actually as bad as I thought.
Welcome back to episode 2 of the WMUA UMass Football Show here on 91.1 FM, the home fort for everything UMass sports. But we're talking football, and now we're talking Joe Harasymiak. First year, last year, 0-12. He's still searching for his first ever FBS win. Dylan, last year, what did you see with Joe?
I mean, to be honest, I think that he did just about all he could, given the resources he was working with. There wasn't a team around him that was in a position to succeed, in my opinion. I think that's just the harsh truth. And that being said, he still was able to limit teams in some ways. I mean, they were 55th in the country in opponent passing yards per game. And as a defensive guy, you could definitely see the blueprints for the defense that he was trying to build at UMass. But, unfortunately, it didn't quite get there.
We'll talk stats in a second, Aidan Shea, but I just want to go to you. What, in your eyes, when you look at the football, the X's and O's, didn't work?
It's kind of a mix of like what Dylan said and just a need for a new look, right? That's kind of what was. Nothing felt like it was too inventive last year. Nothing felt like it was trying to push the needle of what they're trying to do. And bringing a new offensive coordinator might do something to help change that. But again, it is injury-based. We had people like Josh Nobles go out really, really early in the year, like you said. So many other people that went out over the course of the year, missed time at came back or left. And it just was kind of the ultimate storm to mix together and create the season that we saw last year.
Yeah, and just to clarify, when I said the resources that he was working with, I was more talking about the injuries that he had to face and all that adversity that team went through that kind of took away from their availability and what they could work with.
Well, we'll take a look at his defensive performance as a coach last year. He came in as one of the best red zone coaches in the country at Rutgers, and that was one of the reasons he got hired at UMass. But let's take a look at our graphic here of defense in year one under Joe Harasymiak. Opponent points per game, 134th. Opponents passing yards per game, 55th. Opponents rushing yards per game, 132nd. Opponents first down, 109th. Turnovers forced, like you mentioned, Kaminski, 121st. That is not near good enough, and he's got an uphill climb for him this year.
And he knows it. I mean, that was the thing that I most took away from his press conference. He was really honest with us, and shout out, it was a room full of all student reporters. You love to see it. But he said, I am a winless coach in the FBS, or a winless head coach, excuse me, at UMass. And he had an exact quote, or I'm going to paraphrase, but he said 3 or 4 years from now, if I don't get this together, people aren't going to be looking to me as their head coach. So I thought that was a really honest thing for him to say, to kind of, almost say the obvious when people are thinking it, but everyone is kind of afraid to say it. He had the guts to say it and say, no, listen, this team's in a dire position and we need to succeed starting now.
Well, we'll take a look at a video of Joe Harasymiak saying what he needs to do better.
Guys that are obsessed with football. How obsessed with football is this new group that you have?
I think they are. I think the first thing with obsession, right, is the curiosity to keep searching out and wanting to be the best at your craft that you can be, right? The mastery of what you do. You got to master your life first, and then you got to master your craft, which is your football ability. And I think when you're obsessed with it, you'll figure out ways. You'll become curious. We got a lot of guys in this building, and I've told them several times, they've been hand-selected to be here. That's college football now. You get hand-selected to go somewhere, right? There's no more really like I get to choose kind of type deal. In the portal era, you get selected to go somewhere, right? And these guys have been selected to come here and take on a great challenge. I mean, we have the hardest job in the country. We are the worst football program in FBS since 2011 or 12. We know. I've been very, very upfront with them. This ain't going to be easy. I told them if you were out there after practice, I'm going to grind you into the earth. And when you think you're going to quit, we're going to keep going.
Wow.
That's what you want to hear out of your football coach.
I'm going to grind you into the earth, and if you think you're going to quit, you're going to keep going.
That's old school football.
That's old school football. I mean, it's pretty good to hear out of your coach just being able to accept the failure from last year and move forward. Is that kind of the message you got from that, Dylan?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's plenty of coaches at all sorts of level in the NFL, in college, in high school even, that would have been in his position and tried to ignore the fact that they didn't succeed last year and tried to move past it and just say, hey, new season, we can forget about it. And on some levels, Harasymiak is doing that, but at the same time, he's not ignoring it, and he's going to try to build off of what went wrong and correct it,
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I don't know how you could take anything else away from that. It's clear that he says that these guys are hand-selected to be here, right? Everybody that we've encountered, right, wants to be here. We can see that, like just from how they interact, how they treat practices, and like like I said, that's just exactly what you want to hear out of your football coach, right? Like that hard nose, like we know it didn't work last year.
It didn't, but we'll see his film in the next segment. Two guys that they are bringing in to make it work. Pop Watson and Joseph Griffin Jr. film on the other side. We'll move to segment 3 in just a second.
What is this magical place?
You don't know about the People's Market?
I've heard about it, but this is my first time being here. What do I do?
Step 1. Take a bagel from the bagel container. Step 2. Toast it. Step 3. Grab a cream cheese from the fridge. But wait! Be considerate of other patrons by stepping aside and decorating your bagel away from the toaster line. Step 4. Pay! Answer the question of the day. See what happens.
How many countries are in South America?
I don't know. 12?
Yes, you get a discount.
Step 5. Taste the bagel.
Oh my god.
Visit the UMass People's Market on the entry level of the Student Union to get your paws on some delicious bagels, drinks, and treats. Check out their Instagram at People's Market 73 for their hours and additional information.
It's film breakdown time. Aidan Shea, you ready to rock and roll?
Let's do it.
All right, so we'll take a look first at Pop Watson, and then we'll go to Joseph Griffin Jr. Obviously, both Springfield Central teammates, but wow, they are going to be big pieces for UMass this season. Pop Watson, 3 years at Virginia Tech. Now it's time for his time in Amherst. Let's take a look at some of the film right now.
Yeah. Pop's time at Springfield Central was one of the best careers in Massachusetts high school football history. Rolls backwards, keeping his eyes downfield. This is something that he does really well. Keeps his eyes downfield even while he's moving. Doesn't look to run if he doesn't need to. Back of the end zone, touchdown, free. But that's not the only place his running comes in. Look at some of the crazy stuff that they did at VT with him. He's in the backfield. His job is to look at this Mike backer right up here. This running back is going to fake right or fake left, then go right with the other guy to fake a pitch. And then this fullback down here creates the trap block to seal free into the end zone, untouched. Now, this is what his arm can do, though. Back shoulder fade, that is a pro ball. That is a pure, perfect pass, undefendable. And this is what you're getting. Takes a hit in the pocket, ran into, but what I want you to do is look at when he throws this. He gets right past the safety. As he passes this safety, ball's already in the air. That's free. There's no way he can catch up to it. That's an easy touchdown for Jalen Lane.
Yeah, and I mean, like, he's literally getting annihilated in the pocket as he's releasing. Just great focus to be able to hang on, and, you know, a very exciting highlight reel from him.
I mean, talk about it's not like he had like so much time in the pocket in that first clip. He was just running around waiting for guys to catch him. He said, catch me if you can, but I'm going to find my guy in the back of the end zone. That's so impressive. But let's take a look at someone he's going to try to find in the end zone. Joseph Griffin Jr., 2 years at BC, transferred to Wisconsin after the coaching change. Now he's in UMass, back in Western Mass.
Yeah. Joseph Griffin at Boston College, they used him all over the place. He's a big guy. Look at this, just completely mossing somebody. You go and get how he gets 1 foot inbound. The body control that he has is one of his best aspects of his game. He is great after the catch too. Look at this. This is something I want to look at because this is maybe the most one-on-one you can get a screen. This is my guy versus yours. Up there at the top of the screen against this guy. You can tell that corner's in man coverage just the way he's standing, and puts a little dead leg, and he's gone. This is one of my favorite things that I saw from him because that's a great catch, but it's about who he did it on. That right there, oh, sorry, 1 second. But that right on the boundary is on future NFL corner Jarvis Brownlee Jr., and then as a sophomore.
Yeah, I mean, he just has so much potential. And a lot of these plays, this one right here, you're seeing how much he's able to extend the play and drive through contact. We already have T.Y. Harding, who's a run after the catch, what is that word I'm looking for? He's great at it. He's a savant.
Whatever it is this right
extending
here.
The play.
Because this is impossible. Extending the play through 2 people downfield. This is just how.
There's no words to describe it.
There's nothing. I mean, this is just one of those plays.
Yeah.
So I think this connection. Imagine those 2 last plays. You could imagine Joseph Griffin going downfield for a 40-yard bomb from Pop. And it's because they've had this connection since high school. They've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, and having guys that can extend plays like this, whether it's at the quarterback position, at the wide receiver position, no matter where, it's so valuable. When last year there was some struggles on the O-line, there were some injuries that they had to deal with, and keeping the play alive for more than just a couple seconds was a pipe dream, It's not something that UMass could do very often. So now to see them get creators like this that completely open up the offense, it's very exciting stuff.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's unbelievable. You pair a guy like Pop with JGJ. That's my nickname. Dylan Kaminski
I'm vetoing that right now.
Sticking. It's not sticking.
Why isn't it sticking?
The letters are too similar.
Right. Yeah.
The letter JGJ. I'm gonna accidentally call him GJG.
Okay, that's a you problem. That's a JGJ
Sounds like
you
a skill
problem.
issue.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, the guys this whole roster has, especially at the wide receiver position, you have to give. I know we just talked about Joe Harasymiak. You have to give this guy credit. He said in the press conference when they brought in Pop, he said, "Okay, we're recruiting big now," and you can see with this group. We'll take a look at the wide receivers right now specifically. You bring back guys like Kazion Dia-Johnson, Elijah Pedro, T.Y. Harding, and then you bring in transfers, Joseph Griffin Jr., Devin Matthews. These two guys were studs in the places they were. You're bringing in studs. And then you bring in 3 freshmen like Kai Owens, David Moore Jr., and then obviously we talked about Drew Alsop earlier in the show. That's pretty good. You're looking at a pretty deep, good group there that's ready for MAC play.
Definitely ready for MAC play. Joseph Griffin coming from a major conference like that that's one thing in itself. Like getting that level of, I think he was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school, right?
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Kaminski, what do you think of this group?
Just an entirely revitalized receiver group. And after Jaquan Gibson left for Virginia, you might have thought that UMass was going to lack some of that firepower, but their recruiting strategy and getting all these guys, I think, shows the opposite.
Well, we'll take a look at who this wide receiver group will play. MAC's schedule came out a little earlier this week. We'll take a look at that on the other side here on WMUA Sports, the home fort for all things UMass sports.
Greetings, mortal. I need to craft a suit of armor that will protect me in my never-ending crusade of war. I would have visited the ogres, but they're away on vacation this week.
Hi. Well, welcome to the Student Union Craft Center. We have some metal and leatherworking if you're interested.
Yes. Bring me your head blacksmith.
He's out right now, but we have 10 crafting areas of focus. Beading, bookmaking, fiber arts, leather, metalsmithing, photography, screen printing, sewing, silk painting, and I'm the coordinator of stained glass. But we all have general experience in all fields. I can point you in the right direction. Do you have any experience doing it yourself?
Well, my ogres generally handle all of this for me.
Oh, no problem then. Anyone of any experience level is welcome here. The staff are always eager to help and teach anyone who comes through. What part of your suit do you want to get started on?
You mentioned being a master of the colorful stained-looking glass?
Yes.
Could you instruct me on crafting a lampshade for my sunroom?
The Craft Center is located in the Student Union basement. Open every weekday with hours posted outside the door and on Instagram at SU Craft Center. Come on in and find your craft.
I'm developing my 35mm black and white film photography skills.
Well, let's take a look at the MAC schedule. Obviously, we talked about the Rutgers, Sacred Heart, Stonehill, and UConn slate last week on episode 1. If you want to take a look at that, you can go into the WMUA YouTube channel and take a look at that episode. We had Dylan Shalom, our lovely board op, hosting that show. But let's take a look at the schedule. They'll kick things off against Sacramento State. September 26th will be the first MAC game of the season. That will be in Sacramento, week 4. What are you guys' thoughts? California first trip.
Well, I don't know anything about Sac State because they just got into the MAC. This is one of the first real testing games they're going to have to see if they can keep up with FBS, like with the rest of the field.
Yeah, I mean, and I hate to say it, but there's a possibility that they could stand up to UMass, but not the rest of the MAC. And this first game is going to be a great testing battle for both teams, I think. And a really exciting opportunity for UMass to go out to Sacramento. Hopefully we'll get some reporters out there too.
Well, Sacramento State joining the MAC just like UMass did last season. Obviously, Sac State as a football-only member. But it's going to be a litmus test for UMass. Is it really that hard to join the MAC? Or is it just a UMass football problem? We'll see about that this season. Then they move on to Eastern Michigan and Miami, Ohio at home. Eastern Michigan, one of the solid teams in the conference. Miami, Ohio, one of the best. Then they go to Buffalo, a road trip down through the 90 throughway of New York. It's just New York. I can't stand people from New York. And then they'll play UConn, that non-conf game. And then after that, they'll come back home for Ball State. And then on the road to Toledo, one of the more solid teams in the conference. Then back home against Akron. Following that, on the road at Bowling Green for the last week of the season. Kind of an overall thought of this schedule.
Well, maybe not of the whole schedule, but I think it would be really good to beat Toledo at home after their basketball teams kicked both of ours out in the MAC tournament this year. So I think that would be just a nice little vengeance that we could get, if anything.
Yeah, and I think UMass should be also considering themselves lucky that McNeil Warren for Toledo is going to be in the draft. That's going to be one less problem on the defensive side that they're going to have to deal with, that Pop Watson's going to have to deal with.
Dylan, you've got ball knowledge. I totally forgot about that kid. He's a stud. He's an unbelievable player.
And second, a quick tangent, you also had Quinion Mitchell out of Toledo. Yeah, I think the MAC just breeds elite corners. Maybe it's a Toledo thing.
Well, hopefully this will breed also a bowl game for UMass. We'll see about that. Next week, we'll talk about Max Warner. We'll do a transfer deep dive, and we'll talk a little bit more about the practices and what we're seeing. Well, that's a wrap for episode 2. For Zeke Altman, Aidan Shea, and Dylan Kaminski, good afternoon, good night, and see you next week.